Welcome along to this week's episode of The Endless Stream. I'm Aidan, and as usual I am joined by Brian and Kevin. We are three artists, illustrators, filmmakers, and just all-round shit talkers. And each week we take some of the endless stream of content brought to you through Amazon, Hulu, Netflix, YouTube, Spotify. Wherever you get your content, we take a chunk of it, we watch it, and we talk about it. It is our Halloween series this week, week 3, and we are watching Suspiria and The Wolf of Snow Hollow. Along with those two films, we will also be talking about the trailers and the nerd news of the week. Given the nature of these conversations, they are very spoiler heavy, so if you haven't seen Suspiria or you haven't seen Wolf of Snow Hollow, maybe go check those films out, come back and join the conversation. If you like what you hear, please consider subscribing to the podcast or giving us a like or a thumbs up on iTunes or Spotify or wherever it is you listen to your podcasts. Anything you can do to support The Endless Stream really helps us out. You can also head over to @TheEndlessCast on Instagram, where we put up illustrations and clips of the show, and we try and engage with our audience a bit more over there. You can ask us questions, you can tell us we're wrong, you can suggest things for us to watch, so try over at The Endless Cast on Instagram. If you want to send us an email directly, you can also do that at theendlesscast@gmail.com. All of that being said, let's get into the episode. Week 3 of our Halloween series of horror movies and whatnot. We're looking at The Wolf of Snow Hollow, written and directed by Jim Cummings, and Suspiria this week, the 2018 version, directed by Luca Guadagnino. Oh, there's an N.
It's an hour longer than the original.
That's very telling of Kevin's feelings towards the film. We're going to get into those as our Halloween theme, but let's have a quick delve into the sort of the weekly news and whatnot. I mean, I guess the big thing everybody's talking about is Robert Webb pulling out of Strictly, claiming illness and ill health. He got through by the skin of his teeth last week, I think more down to the affection people have for Kermit and Miss Piggy than actually him. I don't know, I just didn't think that he was like really invested in the process, and he might have been a little overwhelmed by how good some of the younger performers were actually doing. So my first reaction was...
I'm sorry, Aidan. I'm sorry.
Brad, I literally just texted, don't stop him. Damn it!
You texted me what?
I literally just texted saying, don't stop him. Just let him rant about...
No, I'm sorry. Can you start again? Because I got stuck on Jim Cummings directed that other film. I was like, do you mean Winnie the Pooh, Jim Cummings? And apparently it is. Is that right?
Is
it voice actor Jim Cummings? Is it the same Jim Cummings?
I mean, it's definitely
not,
Jim
surely.
Cummings, but does he...
Sorry, I missed the start of what you were saying because I was... It's not, is it? Just the same name?
Same name, I think.
Okay, sorry. You were saying... Sorry.
Well, that's okay. It's all right. I mean, I know that you're a big Winnie the Pooh fan, and seeing Jim
I used to love Winnie the Pooh.
expand his, career like that would be a big hype moment for you. I was just saying, after the success he had with the Flashdance skit for Children in Need, Robert Webb really thought he was coming into this with a lot of public support. But I think he was a little overwhelmed by how well the younger contestants were doing. It's week 2 of actual voting off, and 2 or 3 contestants got 10s already. That's unheard of. One couple got 3 10s. That's crazy.
So sorry, did he get voted off?
No, he left, claiming ill health.
Oh, he left?
He left claiming ill health. And I thought he looked embarrassed on the show. He would big up his partner, but when it came to him, they go, Robert Webb, he just was yeah, I'm here. And
is that a shtick or...
I think there's an element of his characters through all of the content he's made have been people that you don't like, and that doesn't help you on a voting off scenario. I think there's a very sort of... people have a feeling towards Robert Webb. Now...
I think millennials of a certain age are fans. Mitchell and Webb.
Oh, absolutely.
Peak Show, all that kind of stuff. But those younger audience, they're not going to know who the hell he is, and they don't care. They just see an awkward old man.
My reaction to it was he's embarrassed by this, whereas Bill Bailey last year ditched the comedy concept altogether and got really
Just went for
serious about it, which was really tactically clever to like go, I'm going to ditch the comedy thing and I'm going to show everybody that I'm taking this really seriously. And he ended up winning. And I think that's why.
I suppose you kind of have to, yeah. I don't know anything about the show. I never watched it.
That being said, the article I read afterwards said that Robert Webb had open heart surgery 2 or 3 years ago. This is John Z calling. I'll just send him a message. Anyway.
He knows you're talking about Strictly.
I know, he it's like his ears are burning. He's a big Strictly fan, you know. He misses Bruno as a judge, but, you know, he thinks Anton de Beek is
Bruno's
doing fine.
gone.
Bruno's gone. He went to the American one for a while. I'm not sure if he's still there. But, I could talk forever. I mean, Gleb and his wife finally got a divorce after, you know, so many sort of Strictly cursed moments in that relationship.
My back hurts.
But
Kev won't be doing Strictly for health reasons.
no.
Yes.
Look, the thing is, he had open heart surgery, and he's saying that he's experiencing symptoms based on 6 days a week training, and it's a built-in excuse, but it's also very, very plausible. So maybe I'm full of shit. You know,
training. I don't do anything 6 days a week.
it depends on how committed these people are, because, like, you know, they're doing EastEnders or touring, doing music or stand-up. They're doing their real jobs while trying to train for this show.
I would kill on that show if only I were a minor celebrity. I would do so great on that show.
Yeah, you're pretty good.
We just need to get this podcast to a good enough height and get a good following going, and then the Irish Strictly kicks in after the British one.
Strictly is a death sentence.
Yeah, God no. It
Not
wasn't
to the Irish one.
wasn't Conor McGregor's sister on it or something like that's what I'm talking about.
But
What channel is this on? What channel is
Australian
Irish Strictly
Strictly is where Chris Hemsworth came out of. You know, he was dead after Home and Away and doing Strictly.
Please don't dodge my question.
RTE 1 or 2?
Of course. Conor McGregor's sister is not a celebrity. She's not. Why was she on it?
I mean, it's hard to know. If we could have got Chris Hemsworth, I'm sure we would have.
No, take someone from bloody fucking Fair City makes more sense. Paul from Fair City for Strictly.
Surely he's
right.
been on it. He's probably been on it.
Jerry May, she's more relevant.
Jerry May. Oh, off of The Den.
She has more. Oh, man.
I remember back in the day when they hired all of them, like new
Yeah.
presenters between shows. There was like 4 or 5 of them hired at the same time. It's big talk.
They had Jerry May, and she was more for the younger kids and stuff, but she was great. And then they had another fella, and he kind of replaced Ray Darcy. I cannot think of his name. He was brilliant. He was very, very good. And then they had a funny fella afterwards, but he was actually pretty good as well.
I mean, I think it's probably a little bit.
crowd.
I think it's probably a little bit like SNL, you know, where generationally you have your cast, and then everything after that's rubbish. I mean, I'm a Ray Darcy guy, you know, and I just couldn't connect anything after that.
Damo or something was the fella afterwards. Damien. He was very good, to be honest. Took me a while to get warm to him, but he was very good. And then actually the guy that succeeded him was a real just like teddy bear of a funny kind of jovial guy, and he was actually great crack. So fair play to the Den. I don't know what it looks like now, but
Yeah, I mean they were trying to bring back Darcy and Zig and Zag, but they didn't renew that sort of adult oriented Den that they did last year.
Yeah, I remember that.
I didn't watch any of it. Did you?
I didn't watch it, but it was on. It was on all the time. They repeated it a lot.
I didn't know what they did a revival of the Den during the pandemic year 2020, where
I don't even remember. I don't know.
They were trying to
I don't watch RT.
fuck RT. You know, nostalgia and Kevin. If I have to tell you again, I'm going to put you in your box. All right.
What?
RTE are good people trying their best.
I didn't say
right?
anything.
They tried to revive a lot of stuff that they think people will watch, you know, and like
I
proven
used to
formats.
love. Was it Too Fat?
Yeah, Velcro Girl.
That was brilliant. Yeah.
Again, my cat
Why
suit
haven't they
conditioning
brought back Rimini Riddle yet?
because it's nightmare
Riddle.
fuel.
Yeah, I would watch that.
Oh yeah, we watched some of that recently. Weren't we talking about that recently? The episode
think
where he's
so.
in the house alone. Is that not that show?
Were we talking about it?
It is. Is this a stop motion?
No, it's puppets.
Puppets.
Yeah, wasn't there one where he's like in his room listening to metal or something?
Oh
and then he
yes,
thinks
yeah.
there's an intruder. Yeah, I watched it.
It's fucking weird. So
For
weird.
terrifying stuff, I remember.
That's why RT is great. They will take a pitch from somebody and commission something on a chance. You know, it
Get
could
out
be
of
great.
it. That's complete bullshit. Complete bullshit. Also, but a segue from this. Will Sliney, storytellers. Best of luck to him. Irish talent there, doing it. Looking forward to seeing what he comes up with. I think it looks good.
Absolutely. Will Sliney's very successful.
I don't know what that
the
is.
Twitch stuff he did. The stuff that Will Sliney is an Irish comic book artist who's been drawing Spider-Man
What's that?
and a bunch of stuff.
What's he doing?
He's from Cork, Brian.
He's from Cork.
Yeah, but what's he doing?
He's the only artist from Cork.
Let me get. I don't know if this is a bit, but I can tell you. He was very successfully drawing comics.
No, what's the storytellers thing? I
He
know
was
who
drawing on Twitch and was then
Right.
making kids-focused Twitch content for kids during the lockdown, which turned into an actual RTE segment on the school thing that they were broadcasting during the day, where he'd go on and like
Which
show
looked
people
great.
to do art stuff. And that's
Like
turned
high production look
into
good.
a kind of quasi-animated live-action thing where it looks like he's going to like draw characters and someone's going to tell a story and it's going to be voiced by, you know, a whole bunch of people. I saw Aisling B's name in
really-
the credits. Again, big shout out to Aisling B. Big fans here. We all love her stuff. She's in the new Home Alone movie, which I'm not sure if you saw the trailer. Aisling B and Pete Holmes. That's going to be great. I love those two.
No, it's not.
She's doing a British accent.
No.
But no,
not
genuinely,
gonna be
with regards to the Will Sliney thing, like kind of like that's like I met Will loads. That like he's doing phenomenal.
He's
like,
doing amazing.
genuinely fucking
He's
fair
built
play
his
to him,
house
like,
there in
good job.
Ballycotton. I don't know if you like follow his social stuff.
Oh god, I've seen his studio.
It's amazing.
Good.
Off the back of comic books.
Living the dream.
It's definitely somebody I look at and I go, amazing, he's done it. And then I kick myself for not just... Like, listening to Shalvy's story of, like, I wanted to draw comics, so I got, like, a fucking job that would pay my rent and then just drew comics all the goddamn time. Same thing with Sliney, whereas, like, I went, I'll go and do animation work. It's like, I should have just dug myself into the basement and just drawn comics forever.
Yeah, I agree. I feel it's something. Definitely during the pandemic, I was just like, wow, I wonder if I just stuck with it, because the kind of the motivation I had for my own industry, my own job and stuff, if I had kind of like, you know, funneled that to the comics and stuck with it, it'd be like, wow, maybe I could be somewhere. But like, not saying I would be, but I'm just saying. But Daniel Warren Johnson was just like, you know, someone asked him, how did you become a comic book artist? And he was just like, well, my wife was very good. She supported me and said, you know, Daniel, this would make you happy, you got to do it. So he's like, I drew comic books 8 hours a day when I wasn't making money on it, and my wife supported us.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
When I got out of
fair.
college, I started doing that. You know, I just was like, here's my desk, I'm sitting myself at it, I'm drawing pages specifically around the idea of getting better at, you know, specific things. I was trying to draw costumes and environments, and then specifically, you know, noir stuff. And then I got a job, and it's just that went away. And I just was like, well, I guess I'm in animation now.
I kind of remember just doing comics for one summer, and we should get into our art history stuff at some stage and kind of divulge more about that. But I remember just doing it and finding it very kind of like isolating and not being super happy with it, with stuff I was producing and everything. Then going back into college, kind of focusing more on the tattooing, and yeah, kind of getting stuck into
Every
it
so
from
often,
there,
though,
you know?
like, this is just turning into a fucking what if cast, I guess. But like, I'm looking at art all day long, or I'm drawing or whatever, and I'm looking at the job I'm doing, and I'm going, I wonder if I could be a tattoo artist. That seems like a fun life. You just draw shit, and you have to deal with people, though. They're a nightmare. I do think that's the biggest sort of barrier there, is like the canvas will talk to you. Like, fuck off. I didn't say it seems like an easy life. I just said it seems like a cool life, you know?
I think, like, you know, it's like kind of like, it's like comic books, for example. It's like you can look at that with, like, you know, aspirations and rose-tinted lenses, but it's hard work, and you know, I think to be honest, every job has its bloody stresses, and like a job's a job, you know, and that's why sometimes I kind of think like, well, maybe it's kind of good that, like, you know, comics isn't your career or my career or something like that, because it's just like you can still kind of love it.
The doing the cover work for this podcast stuff is just definitely making me go like, oh, wouldn't mind drawing an odd comic book cover? Like, though,
Well,
you actually
yes,
get
sorry.
some money off of that.
Yeah, man. Comic book covers got to be the most like that like, you know, again, stressful. Everything's got to be stressful, but like that's got to be a fun gig. Like you're doing splash pages for a living, you know.
Yeah, it's all a balancing act as well. I mean, we see people that like you get X amount per page, you get X amount per cover. If you do X amount of covers a month, you make your weekly or your monthly nut, as they say. But like if you don't, like that's going to affect the quality of work. There's all the pressures that go with everything.
Yeah, like don't get me wrong. Like you know, a creative job is like, you know, I'm sure there's probably people who really wish they were in animation. You know, I know loads of people who wish they were in animation, but you know, these things aren't as they appear on the surface. You know, but like I do love my job, and I've met fantastic people in my job. And I, you know, I'm starting to trying to bring some of my love of other things into it again. I did it before, and I'm trying to do it again. But you know, it's a tough one. But like, kind of, you know, I definitely feel fortunate to do what I do, and I do love it.
So let's dig into the news stuff real quick. I don't know if anybody watched Krasinski's Jack Ryan on Amazon Prime. Season 3 is coming, and Season 4 has been confirmed. So I thought Season 1 was stronger than Season 2, but I do like the world they're building there.
I watched the first season, and I watched the second season as well, but it didn't sink in. I didn't engage in the same way. So
that's definitely true of the second season. It does not connect in the same way as the first.
Like it faded into the background for me, but I liked the first season. So
yeah. So I'm hoping 3 will be a little bit of a return to form. But that's the thing. Even with the like, I'm a big fan of those Jack Ryan movies, but I watched them a while back, and it's like it's clear diminishing returns each time, from Hunt for Red October through to like Clear and Present Danger. It is boring, tedious fucking drugs allegory, you know, the drug war allegory, and it's like, ugh. And then you have the Chris Pine one with Kenneth Branagh, no bueno. The Ben Affleck one's okay, but I do know people that hate it, think it's boring shite. I liked the Krasinski stuff anyway. I thought it was good, and that's why I was surprised that the Michael B. Jordan thing, that's kind of in the same world, Without Remorse, was that it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't actually end up connecting to the Prime Krasinski show, at least as yet. We had New York City Comic Con over the last week or so. There was a trailer for the next season of Star Trek Discovery. This is season 5, I think, if not season 6. That show has never found its feet for me, and they keep kind of like repiloting in different contexts.
Soft reboot every season.
Trying to find its place. And you can see in the trailer where they've, you know, got a slow-mo inspiring speech about the threat to the galaxy like nothing they've ever seen before. And it's like, there were some episodes of Star Trek The Next Generation where they were just shipping food from one place to the next. You know, can we bring it back to some of that small scale shit that was...
It's never going back to that. Are you crazy?
They were trying to settle a trade dispute between two countries at one point.
I fell asleep. I micronapped in that little description of that episode right there. They're not making a show about that anymore.
But they are. It's called The Orville, and it's good Star Trek.
This is not good.
It's fine. It's good Star Trek. And then Lower Decks is better than the fucking Discovery show.
Lower Decks is good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's so funny that even the Picard show, like, I've said this to you before, I don't know if I've said it on the podcast, but as much as I love Patrick Stewart and I love the character of Picard, he's too old to be running around with laser beams firing after him. He didn't do it in The Next Generation.
It's odd though that nothing seems to be connecting with even
Star Trek fans.
It seems like Star Trek audience, like, is it smaller than it was? Or do they just not care about anything past Voyager? Because that's what it feels like.
I think the hardcore Star Trek fan didn't really connect to the JJ era. They watched it and went, it's fine, but it's more, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I think Trekkies are probably like a much smaller, very specific contingent of sci-fi fans. There's no place for them in today's society.
This is a complete spoiler for season 1 of Picard. At the end of that, it gets into like AI cyborg stuff and dealing with data again.
Oh no, not spoilers.
At the end of that, Picard is killed and his brain is uploaded into a Picard android clone
stop.
that has a limited... It's still Patrick Stewart with the same lifespan. They literally had an opportunity to put someone younger there and make the show more dynamic, or what I think they should have done is just actually killed him, saved his consciousness, and had it be a holodeck presence. Because that way, the crew that they'd put together, you name the ship Picard, you stick Picard in the holodeck, and when there's a bit of problem, they go to the holodeck and go for,
but
consultation.
then, that character just lives forever, and that's a bit creepy.
But,
that's not necessarily great.
But they built a crew that you actually started to like on a ship that wasn't a Starfleet ship. And if he had died at season 1 and they named the ship after him, and then they have this holodeck presence where, we now follow a crew that's able to have space battles and run around the place, because 80s whatever-year-old Picard running up steps in season 1 looked so tired. I love the guy, but, don't make him do that.
Like Robert De Niro kicking that guy's head in
The Irishman. Have him as this presence that people go to confer with on the ship. And that way you get to sit an older man in a nicely appointed study and then have your action show built around it. And he can still get his producer's credit and make his money, Instead, he has to hop into a new universe and play an evil version of Picard. And this episode, at least the first 23 minutes, is mainly me ranting about things that you two don't care about. Speaking of which, Doctor Who released a new trailer.
The thing is, I think there's an interesting discussion to be had about all of them, but the fact is, it does feel like the Star Trek audience is smaller, but at the same time, they keep trying, spending a lot of money on it. So is it to try reclaim
I think
the glory days? Or, maybe the audience must be there to some extent for them to try Picard, Discovery, and try make another film.
I think it's the thing
it must still be worth a buck.
Yes,
for some reason.
That's it. I don't even know that it's. I don't know that it's smaller,
Tom Hardy.
but I think it's a case of the other nerd franchises have scaled up around it. So Star Trek is no longer this cathedral in nerd landscape. Everything else is at the sort of same height now. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but does it mean then that the people who have the rights to it don't understand science fiction today? Like, do the people who, say yay or nay on Star Trek, are they looking at The Mandalorian saying, why can't we do that with what we have over here? And do they just not get the fact that how vastly different those two kind of universes are? Or are they just going, that's sci-fi, we've got a sci-fi thing, like why don't we just try with the property that we have?
Yeah. Whether it's...
Because it just hasn't kind of penetrated the cultural consciousness at all. Not since Abrams, Even then, that was very quickly forgotten.
Whether it's Star Wars or Marvel or DC or Star Trek, the best version of it comes from somebody who loved it growing up and was a fan around it and has achieved a degree of technical skill set around filmmaking and whatnot. But like when you have a committee, even people that are deeply ingrained in it but don't necessarily know what it is to experience it as a fan, you don't necessarily know what your audience is looking for in this content. Like I think about some of that in the Star Wars decisions that were made since that new trilogy. Some filmmakers that don't necessarily know, or executives that don't necessarily know what it is to experience Star Wars as a fan, making decisions that they think are cool sci-fi things, and they are, but they just don't connect with what that audience is looking for from the franchise.
Star Trek is Master and Commander in space.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's
very much a naval exploration thing, but it just happens to be in space. I'm not saying there's not a good story, because there's plenty of good. Master and Commander is great, but I don't think the way they're trying to get it to connect with people by
These ships shouldn't move like fighter jets.
Yeah, and like Discovery trying to make it, you know, because I mean it's not Battlestar Galactica either.
Yeah.
You know, it's its own thing, and it feels like people are just saying we've got this sci-fi property, so like why can't we do something with that?
Yeah.
And they keep trying to do something that it's not.
Yeah. The Discovery
never gonna
thing,
work.
like, you go back to season 1, this is a Kirk era show. Original 1966 Star Trek era show. And you've put a ship
Brian
in
Fuller
that's
was involved with
vastly...
Discovery, though, wasn't he? So
I think so, to
what
some
extent
degree.
was Fuller involved?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, like
But
put him in charge of all TV. He's great.
But you've got a they based it around a ship that is ludicrously overpowered for the era, just to try and make it modern and engaging for an audience. And by season 4, they had to shoot that ship into the future to make it kind of an underdog. The show is currently set 1,000 years later than any Star Trek series. And they get to redesign all the aliens because there's 1,000 years of, you know, genetic evolution.
Oh, that's why they redesigned that one guy.
Yeah, well, there's a Cardassian in the trailer where I'm like, oh, okay, this looks like 1,000 years. You know what I mean? It's
God, they're all over TV now these days, aren't they?
Cardassians. Anywho, there's also a trailer for season 6 of The Expanse, real teaser thing. 6 episodes coming in December, I think. I mean, it's the final season. If you guys are at all interested in The Expanse, I would recommend checking it out. It's a good show.
You love it, yes. It's one of your faves.
I do. I keep saying.
Yep.
New trailer for Doctor Who. Jodie Whittaker is on her way out. Unfortunately, she has been underserved by the production for the last 4 years.
That's awful. I suppose it was a bad time for her.
But they're bringing in John Bishop, so hopefully his performance will help elevate it. Big Mouth season 5. Did you guys watch Big Mouth?
No, the characters repulse me.
Big Mouth's great. It's hilarious, though. It's a good show.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it. I keep thinking that the hormone monster is Will Arnett, and then I'm always surprised that it's not Will Arnett. It's
very
Kroll.
Will Arnett, though.
Nick Kroll, yeah. I've watched 4 seasons of it going, oh, well, Will Arnett does that, and then Nick Kroll does a lot of other things, and then you've Maya Rudolph, and it's not Will Arnett, and I always have to go, yeah, it isn't. I wonder, Mulaney's involved, isn't he? I wonder if the kid does any cocaine. And
that's what I was about to ask. I mean, did he record stuff before rehab, I guess? He would have had to.
I suppose we'll be able to tell which he recorded before and which he recorded after by the tempo of the word delivery. No, his cadence.
I mean, he tells jokes the same way while he was sober.
Mm. You know, I watched The Comeback Kid again recently enough with my dad, and my dad hadn't seen any John Mulaney stuff. And I'm like, oh, Mulaney's great. And just watching him beside somebody who'd never seen him before, I was just like, Jesus Christ, John, slow the fuck down. You're just a mile a fucking minute. It's like you got a word count that you have to fit into 55 minutes. He's going so fast.
The funniest guys usually are
going a mile a minute.
Yep.
No.
That's the feedback I've gotten. Anyways.
But you're not that funny.
I wasn't talking about me, Brian. I wasn't talking about me. I speak slowly.
But you're the funniest part of this podcast, though.
Yeah, I know. Well, I guess. I didn't know that. I break the rule. Oh God.
Yeah. You're the heart of it.
I used to be.
Big Mouth's coming back. That show is mad, and I'm looking forward to another season of it. Adam Warlock has been cast. James Gunn was teasing the introduction of a character. Was it just Adam Warlock?
I thought that was for the Christmas special, not Guardian of the Tree, but I could be wrong. Also, that guy that is going to be the new Willy Wonka, who looks like someone pinched his face and just like more like that.
Timothée Candelabra.
Timothée Chalamet, or as John Mulaney calls him, the boy.
The boy would have been like, okay, Will, what's his name?
Poulter.
is going to be like, fine. I can accept him as Adam. I'll watch it.
Where's this going? What are we talking
Timothy would
about?
have been better as Adam Warlock
Disagree.
because he's like a space Jesus.
Yeah, but he's already playing Space Jesus.
He's playing Space Paul, the Apostle. Because his name is Paul.
Yeah, I know his name is Paul. I've listened to the first 15 minutes of the book. Yeah, he would have been a better Adam.
You think Timothy Candelabra would have been a better Will Poulter?
From comic book, what Will Poulter looks like in the comics versus how he's going to be portrayed in the Guardians of the Galaxy movie. Yes,
Will Poulter looks great though. He's a big guy.
He's 6'3".
Oh, I like him.
big
Don't
dude.
get me wrong, I like him. I just wouldn't have put him for Adam. That's all.
Timothy Chalamet was only 6 foot. I'm taller than the boy.
I really want Mulaney's wife to hook up with him now. That'd be perfect. It's just outside that whole thing's a car crash. Like, not to gossip and stuff. I'm a huge Mulaney fan, but the second I saw him after presenting on
I don't know what's
SNL
going
when
on.
he showed up a couple of nights later on Myers' show, I was like, he's clearly relapsed. I thought he was doing a bit for a second. He came out in this massive coat, shades, and he was unshaven. I was like, he's using again, clearly.
Wait, hold on. That was like, did we know that he was a drug user prior to that SNL Myers bit?
Yeah, he's talked about like getting blackout drunk since he was a teenager.
Oh.
And he kind of quit. He quit. He sobered up after college, basically. So from around the age of 22 or something. So he talked about it quite a bit. That he used to do a lot of coke and ecstasy and drink and stuff. And
Well, he spent a great deal of
some
time
his
in
material.
Ireland.
He did indeed. So he talked about, having to sober up.
I didn't realize.
So yeah.
See, I didn't realize he can. So, like, him showing up looking like he'd had a party didn't bother me. You know what I mean? Like, I was just like, yeah, the guy's had a party.
The second I saw it, I thought it was a bit, and then he sat down and was like, oh no, this isn't a bit. He's clearly in the midst of
That's sad.
a bit of a spiral.
Yeah.
Well, his wife cheated on him with Timothy Chalamet, so
Was it?
that'll no.
No. I'm saying it'd be hilarious if. Do you know he did a bit about his wife being a Chalamet?
No.
No.
That's insane. I don't know
He's got a
anything you're
bit
talking
of
about.
routine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Mulaney has a bit in his routine. He talks about the fact that I think he's 6 foot or 6'1", and he's like, I'm oddly proud of that. He's like, I don't know why. He's like, it doesn't matter, but I'm proud of the fact because I'm tall, and he doesn't look tall, but
Yeah. But my wife told me one day that
he looks like
Timothy
an average,
Chalamet
yeah.
is 6'2", and that bothered
his
me.
wife is a big Chalamet fan. Yeah, but he's also got a bit about he's got a couple of bits where people are like always asking him and his wife, when you're going to have kids and stuff. And he's like, we're never having kids. We've no intention of having kids. Neither of us want kids. And then, he, after getting clean in rehab, he very quickly got into a relationship. And then he's now expecting a kid after telling all these jokes about never wanting a kid, him and his wife never wanting a kid.
But he's still with his wife?
No.
No, he's with Olivia Munn now.
Oh, okay.
He divorced his wife. He went to rehab, divorced his wife, went back to rehab, I think, got out of rehab and hooked up with Olivia Munn, and now they're expecting a kid.
Well, Olivia Munn seems cool. Hopefully she can put him on the straight and narrow.
It's not her job to put him on the straight and narrow. It's just an interesting situation all round. Yeah, let's not put that on her.
You know what I mean, though, as in like you hope that kind of.
This is a train wreck. Yeah, you don't get into. He's just out of rehab and he's in a very serious relationship and he's expecting a kid. This is disaster. But in all this, his wife, the kind of divorce surprised her. She's kind of upset about it.
That's really
So
sad.
it'd be hilarious if it is sad. And that's why it would be hilarious if she did hook up with Chalamet after.
And who is this lady?
Him doing. Her name's Anne-Marie Tendler. I think she's an artist. Photographer and artist, I believe. I think.
Do you know what is? It's just my own projection, and I know it's my own projection. But when he showed up with the rug and comedians and cars getting coffee, and the wife was like, "No, we're taking that back," I went, "Yeah, that doesn't work. That relationship doesn't work." I looked at the dynamic between him picking out some piece of furnishing for their house and getting told that's not going in our house, and I went, "Yeah, that's not going to work."
Oh wow, that's like
I think she's like a designer as well, though. Or
Yeah.
something.
yeah,
Yeah.
but like
Yeah.
I that's like me and Emer. You know, we go somewhere like like that. She's like, no, but she has better taste, and I respect that. I think that's just she's a designer. She's probably better taste. John Mulaney.
I think often relationships with comedians can work really well when they're on the road 2/3 of the year. Anyway, let's keep moving because that took a weird divergence.
Sofia Vergara's in Cork.
Yeah,
now.
but so is Joe Manganiello, so you watch your fucking step.
I could fight Joe.
Yeah, maybe in Dungeons and Dragons.
He's a Dungeons and Dragons fan, right?
Yeah, he's huge.
Look, I don't give a shit how big he is.
You chop him
No,
down.
you don't know what I would do in a fight. You have no idea. You have no idea.
He would sue you into oblivion. He's got the money.
For what?
He's got the bank.
I'd sue him.
All future earnings. He would. You
Sorry,
know.
hang on.
I think it's disrespectful to
All-
Sophia
all-
to be talking
All
to her
I
about this,
said
like
was
this.
she's in Cork, and you said watch it because Joe's there, implying that Joe's going to mess me up. First of all,
No,
two
I'm
things.
implying that
One,
you're going
I'd
to over
sue
fucking
him,
step.
because that seems like a thing I
That
could do.
does, yeah.
I think
yeah.
Sophia could kick his ass. Never mind Joe.
That's
not true. Brian just
Vergara's
kicked
in
my
Cork.
ass on-
Are they shooting something or what?
No, they're just on holiday. I think.
Oh, very nice.
That's great.
Should
They
they?
go
They,
in town
they
later
couldn't
and
pick a
see if
better
I can
spot.
spot
Don't
him.
do that, Brian. Stay at home. Just stalk them on Instagram like normal people.
No, I'm going in town anyway, so I'll see if I.
Oh,
can.
that's good. That sounds healthy. Okay.
Look, hang on. They went to the chip shop that's like 20 minutes down the road from me, and then they went to the park that I often bring Marla to walk in. So all I'm saying is, if I'm in town later, I'm going to keep my eyes peeled.
Okay.
And if Joe wants to start something, I'll finish it, and then I'll sue him.
For your multiple broken bones.
Because he started
Oh,
it.
sorry.
Just because I finished it doesn't mean just because I finished it doesn't mean I can't sue him.
Mm-hmm.
You guys have no idea.
No, I have ideas.
I'd kick his dick in.
You'd kick his.
And I'll find a brick. He'll use the advantages God gave him, and I'll use the ones on the street. I'll find a brick.
He'll use the advantages God gave him, and you use the ones on the streets.
What I'm saying is the advantages Joe got is that he's 6'5", and the advantages I got is that I'll fight.
You'll kick his dick in.
Because it's in me. I'll kick his
Because
dick
it's
in.
in you. But like, is that where his power is?
And I'll find a brick and I'll use it. What, that he's 6'5"? Yeah, I think that's something to do.
No,
with- yeah,
his
that he's
penis.
6'5".
Is that where his power is? That's why you gotta kick his dick in.
No, I'm just saying it'll be like he's 6'5". I won't even have to kick low. I'll be kicking chest height. Very easy for
Punch
me
at
to
his
do.
knees. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, good luck to kicking Joe's dick in tonight.
And it'll be fine. We'll have a drink afterwards and it'll be fine. He seems like a cool dude. We can have
some
scrap. And
have some beamish.
Just you know.
This one is
Just,
stay for anybody listening. I'm 5'9".
that's a stretch.
Joe has 8 vertical inches on me.
Maybe 10.
I'm taller than you, Kev. Shut up. I'm taller than you, Kev.
You're not taller than me.
Yeah, I'm taller than you.
How?
You're the short
How is
ass.
that possible?
You're a little 5'7" ass. A 5'7" ass walking around. You're manlet. Little manlet. Pretend to be a big guy wearing his heels. We see you in those
Sometimes I
heels.
do take off my shoes and I feel smaller. That's probably normal though.
You are smaller because you wear
Yeah.
heels.
Well, yeah, serious heels on my
You're a
shoes.
manlet. You're a manlet. Little 5'2".
I'm getting smaller.
5'2". Walking around, please. Little 4'11" ass. Walking around, bossing me around.
How are things at the Lollipop Guild?
Anyway, this is absurd. Joe is 8 inches taller than me. I'd still kick his ass. And you too, Kev, you watch it.
Well, you have kicked my ass before, but I don't think you're taller than me. I think we're the same height.
I'm towering over you. Towering.
Okay.
So Will Poulter's going to be playing Adam Warlock. I mean, I'm looking at people being surprised.
He
by
has
that.
hurt me before.
Being surprised by the addition of Adam Warlock, but it's like they very clearly set that up.
I've heard both of you here.
Yeah.
Aiden, how tall are you? You like 6'2"?
2, yeah.
6'2", yeah. So you're only 3 inches shorter than Joe.
He has kicked my dick.
I've wrecked your dick.
He's not wrecked my dick because he's not intimidated by it. But he's
I don't know if there's another character
stomach.
going to be announced in the Guardians Christmas special, or if that's just the reveal we were to expect. But who would Joe Manganiello play in the Marvel universe? Craven?
Bittery Bill.
Isn't Aaron Taylor Johnson already playing Craven though?
There's that suggestion.
Aaron Taylor Johnson. No, it's confirmed.
Is it?
Right? Aaron Taylor Johnson's playing Craven
Oh yeah. In
in a Craven film. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's been confirmed. Come on.
There's also going to be a Harry Potter quiz show for the holiday seasons presented by Helen Mirren. Are they using her because she's like the only British actress that wasn't in a Harry Potter movie? Does seem like that's going to be an opening joke. I'll watch that. I like a seasonal show.
Nah.
Do you know what I miss? I miss Deal or No Deal.
No, fuck it.
'Cause they did really good seasonal episodes.
Fuck.
Put everybody in costumes.
No interest in Harry Potter. No interest. Zero interest.
Was
in
really
Harry Potter
annoyed
quiz.
that like
Who cares?
all of the rest of the world decided that Deal or No Deal should just be 20 models holding suitcases. Like, Noel Edmonds really nailed the format. I miss that show.
Let's not give him the credit
The Noel Edmonds
because it had nothing to do with it.
The Noel Edmonds instance really nailed the format because it stuck these people together in a hotel for a period of time and they built relationships and the chat was real and you cared as opposed to just some models standing up in the background. It's like
I've never really watched it. I like with The Weakest Link and Eggheads.
I like an egghead, but I was never into The Weakest Link because I just thought Anne Robinson's like witty comebacks were always just dog shit schoolyard bullying.
Some of them were cruel.
They weren't
Yeah.
even they were cruel, but they weren't smart. They weren't.
No, I know that.
It's one thing roasting people, but it was always just like, "You're a big girl, aren't you?" It's like,
Yeah. No, she was horrible. I used to like that. Used
your
to kind
beard
of really,
makes you look shit. Like,
it used to really make me kind of like. I used to hate that part, but I do like a good quiz show. And the chase. I love the chase.
yeah.
But yeah, Harry Potter quiz show. Oh God, no interest. Zero interest in Harry Potter lore. Zero interest. I'm not saying it's bad. It's definitely just not.
It's not for you.
It's really not.
I love it. I definitely associate that with the Christmas season, so I look forward to them showing up on the telly at the end of the year. Let's get to the meat of the episode because we have spent 46 minutes talking about John Mulaney's breakdown and Joe Manganiello's dick. So, Wolf of Snow Hollow.
It's an innie now.
And the kicking in there.
Yes, Brian turned his penis from an outie to an innie. Now it's like a dog's.
For manlets everywhere.
It's like a dog's penis.
I did it in the name of manlets.
What's a manlet?
It's a little man.
Oh my God. Okay, like a piglet.
Yeah.
A manlet. Anyways, I'm definitely 5'9". Because I know this because
You were.
I've been 5'9" since maybe like.
I remember you telling me you were 5'11" before though, and I had to tell you
To take your heels off.
that couldn't be possible because we were standing beside each other and we were the same.
No man, I was talking about in heels or something, but I've been 5'9" for most of my life. Like obviously not like, you know, initially, but over time. And I
wonder, like you literally just said that, and I'm like, I bet you if we did the maths on when you stopped growing, you haven't been 5'9" for most of your life.
Oh, I've been 5'9" for half my life.
Maybe.
I don't think I've gotten taller since I was like 15, 16.
Okay.
I'm 33 now.
Well, if anything, then you have most likely got shorter. Do you want to get Emer to measure you?
Emer has measured me before. It's very
No, but your height.
She was very disappointed. Both, yeah, sorry. I
Hey-o.
both things, yeah.
Wolf of Snow Hollow is a 2020 film written by Jim Cummings, directed by Jim Cummings, starring Jim
But
Cummings.
not Winnie the Pooh, Jim Cummings.
Speaking of Jim Cummings, Wesley Snipes is 5'9" also. Tom Hardy.
Have we all slept?
Joaquin Phoenix. No, I'll tell you what, I haven't fucking slept all that well because I was up till 3 o'clock watching Suspiria and then I had to get up early this morning.
Do you know what? I didn't either. I went to
Like
bed
5
late
hours.
and had to get up at 4 in the morning.
Oh, God bless you.
I went to bed at 7:20, okay, so shut the
Yeah,
fuck
but you're used to it,
Both of
Brian. You're out there stalking Sophia. The hills of Cork. It's longer from the back. Go on.
There are only so many sort of 5-star hotels in the Cork City metropolitan area, right? Unless they're chain.
They could have rented
Beautiful
a
Airbnb.
luxury B&B house, yeah.
I'm happy for them that they came to Cork as well. More people should come to other places than Dublin because the government is anti-rural. Aidan told me that this week. And I agreed with him.
He's not wrong. He's right.
I don't disagree. I think that the rural communities of Ireland are woefully underserved by the infrastructural development of this country, and the fact that you still can't fucking get reliable internet in a lot of this country is bullshit. We're small enough that should be fucking dealt with. The fact that the rail services were better 100 years ago than they are today is ludicrous.
Last train to go at 7:30 on a fucking weekday. Is
No
stupid
trains
as
to
shit.
Donegal.
It's dumb, man.
No.
Donegal's a forgotten
you
county.
You can see maps of the rail system in Ireland through the 20th century, and you can see how they withdrew services from large chunks of the country. Bullshit.
They sold the steel. They ripped all that infrastructure up and then they sold off the steel.
Yeah.
Is what I read.
Well, I mean, look, as I think about it, I go, as a developing country in the 20th century, we're kind of financially fucked, and it took a long time for us to get to a point where we were somewhat stable. So I guess you got to do what you got to do, but like it is shitty that this country is still so kind of city focused.
But it's Dublin focused.
Yeah, but like even like the new motorway that they're putting in between Limerick and Cork, they were putting a new motorway in.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, I get it, but there are ways to get to Limerick and Cork. Can we put that money into looking after some of the surrounding? Like, I know people, I think, on that path that are like, yeah, you're putting around about 10 feet from my rural house. You know, it's fucking shit. But The Wolf of Snow Hollow. Did you enjoy it, Kevin?
Okay, so I gotta be honest with you. I'm gonna be really honest here. I got the movie last night, right? And I googled it before I watched it because I was like, what kind of movie is it? And I said, if you Google this movie, it will say it's a thriller on Google. And I spent the first half an hour thinking, how is this a thriller? This is weird. And then I had to go into IMDb and it said it was a comedy horror, and I was like, that makes sense. So I spent the first time thinking like, this is really bad. Like, this is just like,
Really?
no, as in like, no,
Okay.
like I
Okay,
was enjoying it, but like in the context of like, oh, like, how is this sincere? Are these people? Is this meant to be a thriller? Because it's coming off really like, it's like, you know, when you watch The Room, say it's like he's trying to do something with like, you know, conviction, but it's just awful, and you're laughing at it, not with them. But I wasn't too sure about this. But then when I realized black comedy, hilarious, and the guy from American Vandal, he's the guy to start whose wife is killed. His performance is actually epic in it, even though he's in it for very briefly. He is
That's Jimmy Tatro.
He's so good. American Vandal's brilliant if you've not watched it. But Snow
good.
Hollow, yeah, your man's in it, Brian, and he plays a character in it, or he plays a fella whose wife has been murdered, and he's actually fucking good in it.
Just to give you a quick synopsis, Brian, and we are going to spoiler the hell out of this thing. It's fun. It's a tight, like, 90-minute thing, which I love. 1 hour and 23 minutes. A stressed-out police officer struggles not to give in to the paranoia that grips his small mountain town as bodies turn up after each full moon. So the question throughout the thing is like, is this a werewolf killing people or is this a person killing people? So it's like, is this a horror movie? Is this a murder movie? And Jim Cummings is playing John Marshall. The thing I was pleased to see, especially after watching Too Late, was Robert Forster in it as the older sheriff.
Yes.
Because when we watched Too Late, Forster never gets up from the table, and I remember looking at that going, that's the kind of blocking you do for an older actor when they're not really able to be up on their feet all day. So to see him in this role, which seems to have been his last performance, he died in 2019, I think. This movie was shot in 2018 and came out maybe 2020. It was great to see Forster in, really quite a good role for him. I thought, it's a small role, but he's a character that's like gets to have that sort of Tommy Lee Jones in No Country for Old Men kind of like looking back at what his career was and trying to do the job as he gets older kind of thing. It is a funny kind of throwaway film in many ways, but I liked there's some good sincerity in it. Jim Cummings is really, really broad in this. Would you agree, Kev?
Yes. Yeah. Like this is like he wrote and directed and acted it and starred in it. Yeah, because that's pretty good. Because like there's moments in it where like you're like it is hilarious, and then there's some dark moments that they kind of touch on in a humorous way, but like kind of some touching stuff like. But he's brilliant in it. I thought he was very good. At first it was just like, wow, all these people are talking really fast. I don't like any of these people. They're all kind of annoying, but you do get into it. What do you think?
I think there is a time where this low budget kind of thing would be dreck, and even the opening shots of the mountains were really nicely done.
Oh yeah, beautiful.
The kills were really vicious and effective. There is a point in it where you go, oh, okay, it's just a werewolf. It's and it's a cool werewolf costume. It's practical, and it's like tearing through people. It's there is a point in it where you know what the movie is, and he's falling apart under the stresses of like the people on his crew freaking out, leaking shit to local newspapers. He's trying to live up to the reputation of his father as the sheriff. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good fun.
I thought the movie was awesome, and it's kind of just like it was. I think I think the kind of the rating online and stuff is justified. It is worth watching. Like it's clever.
Well, the rating online is like the critics' reviews on Rotten Tomatoes is 89% with an audience score of 66.
Yeah.
He also directed a film before that called, is it Thunder Road or Black Road or somebody I was talking to about this said you should watch his first film. Thunder Road.
Thunder Road, yeah, I've heard of it. Yeah, why do I know that one?
Well, there's a Thunder Road cafe near your work.
They do vegan burgers. No, I know the restaurant. I'm talking about what's the deal with the movie, because I know of it. I've heard of it. Is it post-apocalyptically?
Post-apocalyptic?
Yep. Post-apocalyptic?
Texan police officer
Mad Max.
No.
A Texan police officer delivers a moving
Fury
eulogy for
Road.
his late mother. The divorced officer suffers a psychological breakdown while trying to save his relationship with his daughter, which is kind of the same character.
Oh yeah, it really is.
It's kind of the same character in Wolf of Snow Hollow.
It really is, yeah.
What I'm interested in as much as anything is that these seem to be very, if not independent, they're very creator-led productions. And like I'm looking at the poster here for Thunder Road going, that's a cool poster, like movie posters and the design around them can tell you a lot about the sort of the heart or the drive or the ethos behind the production, and this stuff has really good design around you know, the graphic stuff. I mean, you see a film, and like, not to shit in it because I know you love it, like Daddy Daycare, but there's a whole genre of film in that sort of like middle of the road family comedy thing where it's just like big block red writing. Yeah, and it's like that's the extent of thinking that goes into the design.
Yeah,
you know?
fine, because it serves a purpose. You know, don't overthink it. If it's not broken, don't fix it. You know, all you need is Eddie Murphy's face there with some red lettering to get it.
To indicate a warning to people that like films that they should watch something else. Big red light. Stop.
Rude. One of Us Snow Hollow, really good. Yeah, but I kind of like, it does keep you on your toes. Like, it's very well done, and it's just like, holy shit! Like the reveal of when you first see who's doing these attacks, like as in like when you see someone being attacked by what's going on. Yeah, it's really, really cool. Like I suppose we can say it, but when you first see the werewolf, it's fucking awesome looking. It's so cool. Like some of those shots will just make great like panels. You know, there's some scary stuff.
It's got a great moment that reminded me of...
Is it an effective horror, would you say? So
it's a comedy horror, man. Yeah,
it's comedy, yeah.
But
you're never terrified. You always kind of think it's funny, you know?
But there's moments, though. There's moments, like, especially at the end, where he's... You know, the guy opens the door, and I think there's some creepy shit.
There's some real menace that goes on, yeah.
And there's a scene where somebody's talking... a woman and her child are talking to somebody in a cafe, and she convinced it must be the creep, you know? And it's a real... freaky scene, man. Like the movie's cool. The movie's good.
There's a moment in it that reminded me of I think it's like Jaws 3 or 4 I saw as a kid, and like I loved Michael J. Fox, and I'd watched him in Family Ties, and I'd watched him in Back to the Future, and here he is in this opening of this movie, and he's all happy-go-lucky, and he's like he like works in the harbour, and he's going out at night to just untie a boy that's got caught in something. And he leans into the water to tie it, and then you get that Jaws moment where a shark's head pops out and he goes, ugh, and you get a shot of him reeling back. And as he reels back, he looks to his right and you realise his arm is gone. And it's that thing that like happens so quickly you don't notice it. And there's a moment like that in Wolf of Snow Hollow where somebody's like, ugh, and they lean backwards and they look down, and it's like, you just see like a bisected arm, you know, just the bone and the muscle there. And it's like, there's some really good visceral deaths. There's a lovely... again, we're spoiling the crap out of this, and I'm sorry, Brian, because I do recommend... But there's a moment in it where, like...
I'll still check it out.
He's had, like, it's played very broadly that he, like, relapses into alcohol and has a breakdown trying to solve this case because the town's gone to shit and his daughter isn't...
He obviously has alcohol issues, and his family, his wife left him because of it, and it looks like he has custody as a child, but... this case and these murders trigger him, and he relapses.
But there's a moment where his daughter ends up in a hospital bed, in the same room that his father ends up in a hospital bed, and you see this shot, and it's just the two of them and him anxious about protecting his family. And then a few minutes later, as the movie plays out, he comes to visit his daughter. He's been drinking and he's lost, and she goes, Dad, where have you been? We've been trying to reach you. And he goes, I'm here, honey, don't worry, I'm looking after you. And she just goes, Dad. And he pauses, and the camera just shifts slightly, and you realise the bed behind him where his father should be is empty. And his father's passed away. It's a real effective little moment.
Yeah.
And he doesn't even look and panic. He just as the camera moves, he realises his dad isn't there. It's a nice...
Yeah, like
nice moment.
Like I said, there is definitely moments in this movie that have a lot of heart, you know? And like you do kind of his portrayal of someone like kind of like say dealing with alcoholism. Oh God! And when the daughter has to put in the bed, that scene is pretty fucking brutal. Let me tell you, it's a rough scene. You know, it's really sad. She's 17 years old and she has to put her drunk dad to bed, and he's like upset and she's upset and she's like, please Dad, you're just depressed, you know, go to sleep, you'll wake up in the morning, you'll be fine. And it's a child trying to be like, I can't deal with the seriousness of this situation, so I'm going to downplay it as he's having a bad night, he's just sad, like kind of he'll be fine in the morning, you know, knowing full well he's an alcoholic and he's relapsed. You know, it's a pretty brutal scene, but it's good.
I'm looking at screenshots of Thunder Road now, and I'm honestly starting to think it it might be the basis of that BoJack episode where he does the eulogy for his mother. You know, where it's just set in front of the casket the entire time.
I don't like BoJack.
Well, you know, I'm just pointing out where I think they might have lifted something from.
Oh no, I'm just saying that I really dislike BoJack.
Okay. So I want to be.
They shouldn't have cancelled Tuca and Birdie.
Well, they brought that back, didn't they?
Netflix
season?
didn't bring it back.
Okay, but there's a new season of it. They shouldn't have cancelled it.
Yeah, but they shouldn't have cancelled it. It was a better show than BoJack.
What was the better show than BoJack?
Tuca and Birdie.
Tuca and
Why
Birdie.
never saw any of it?
I'm assuming the first season is still on Netflix because
It's a
Netflix
Netflix
created
thing,
it. So
I want
they
to be
didn't
careful,
for a second.
just to say though that like when we say that like there are big emotional beats in it as well, they're not particularly subtle. Do you know what I mean? They kind of work within the context of the broad playing field that this is. So like if you were to take one of those things on their own, you'd go, it's kind of goofy, kind of broad itself. But I think within the context of the whole of film, it's the highs and lows and of energy of the particular piece. You know, these low moments read well amidst that chaos.
Yeah.
But on their own, they're kind of goofy. But
Yeah, I think like excuse me.
within the context of a comedy,
I think it kind of knows where it wants to hit, and it hits those places completely fine within this ridiculous movie. You know,
Yeah.
It's not like kind of like a super serious drama or like there's like, you know, real thought provoking, emotive pieces. But where it does want to hit you, it does. You know, because it does it in a very literal, clear way. I think, you know, the deputy, she's brilliant. She is so good.
Ricky Lindholm.
She's so good.
She's
in this.
quietly plugging away
Yeah.
on her career. You know, like she's in Knives Out as well, probably the same year as this.
Okay.
It's the same year as shooting this.
They're two good movies. But yeah, but I love the way like kind of like she's actually like kind of on it, you know? Like she's like he's taken the burden of this thing on his shoulders and he's relapsed because of it. But she's the one actually like kind of like dealing with the whole situation of the murders in the town and investigating it. And there's even a point where she's kind of just like, you know, he's getting out of the car or whatever, and she's just like, he's kind of like, oh, I'm just going through some stuff, blah blah, and she's like, yeah, it's the job, like kind of just like, put up your boots, pal, it's the job, you know, like he's trying to, the stuff he's saying is just like, you know, oh, I have this and this, and she's like, yeah, we all are, like, it's the job, you know. It's a good scene.
That's not a helpful thing to say to someone.
But I think it's in
the people on this, or the people in this town or in this situation aren't particularly capable, but they're just doing what they're doing.
Yeah, it's kind of like Fargo as well. It has some Fargo vibes.
Yeah, it reminded me, simply because I'm biased and like it, of like Letterkenny as well. You know,
Okay.
like it's a very specific rural
Yeah.
kind of vibe.
Even the like kind of like, hey, like, you know, sheriff, say it's a wolf, and he shouts it in front of a news van, and the sheriff just goes like, you fucking idiot, which he's right to. He deals with it incredibly poorly, but he's right to do it. Like, it's like, if you haven't got the cop on to understand it, don't shout out information in front of a fucking,
Don't shout out case details in front of the press.
at a murder scene. You don't have the not supposed to be a cop or whatever, you know.
It's just that there's good staging in it as well, and it's not particularly earth shattering, but it's just when you see so many films just play stuff out very straight, just making use of, you know, a camera move like that where, you know, he goes, what is it? And he goes, oh, it's the wolf. And so, what? And he shouts it, and then the camera just slightly moves again, and you see the press van, like actually using the filmmaking to help sell the jokes and the moments. It's
really it's quite well done.
Yeah, I'd recommend it. I'm going to avoid talking about the ending because I do think it was effective.
Yes.
And like, even just for the sake of Brian,
Okay.
I'll skip it and say, go and watch it.
I thought though, kind of, I
liked it.
It was clever, you know.
Yes.
Like kind of how things came together and people piece things together and stuff like that. It was clever. It was good. Yeah. But we've all watched Suspiria.
Yes, I watched it last night. When did you watch it,
I
Kevin?
watched it last night.
Brian, when did you watch it?
I watched it last night also, but I had seen it before.
Okay. I think we're going to need to let Brian talk to us about Suspiria first. Because...
Why?
The only... No, I'm not going to say it.
The only what?
No,
Did you not
say
like
it.
it?
Say it not on the
Did
podcast.
you not like it, Kevin?
No, okay, hold on.
Brian.
Please tell us about Suspiria. Give us your summary of the movie. Give us your thoughts on the movie. Suspiria is about...
Suspiria is about a dance academy in Berlin in the 70s that is also home to a coven of witches. And it's a remake
Coven.
of... That's what I said. We can play it back. We're recording this, Kevin. We can play it back and we can hear that I said exactly. I pronounced it exactly.
What did you say?
did. Coven. Same
Coven.
thing. I'm not hearing it.
Watch your dick, Kevin.
You're
I'm
saying...
not hearing it. I'm
You're
sorry.
saying
It's
Coven.
exactly the same.
Coven. But it's pronounced Coven.
Excuse me. I'm not taking pronunciation lessons from the guy with a speech impediment.
Yeah,
right?
I wouldn't. I'm terrible. Yeah.
I'm allowed to say that because I have a speech impediment.
Do ya?
too, So, kind of, yeah.
I don't think the correct accent qualifies.
That's the second impediment. I have a primary one as well.
God, very, very
Afflicted.
Yeah, man, fuck, I couldn't even say it. God. I'm terrible.
Don't you dare correct me.
Why did you want to do a podcast
So-
with a guy who can't
Actually
So-
dare you.
So, Brian,
Sorry, mate.
you had got to the point where it's a coven.
remake.
It's a remake about a dance academy and a coven of witches in the late 70s in East Berlin, or it just said divided Berlin, so it didn't necessarily specify which Berlin. But I guess tell us more. Like we're going full spoilers. Tell us the story so the audience is on the same page as us.
Hang on. Have you watched
Yes.
We both watched it.
Yes.
Yeah, we both watched it.
Did you not get it? Is that what
Oh,
I'm
I
doing?
got it. I got
No,
it.
I got it too. But just for the people that didn't get it, just tell us about it.
Explain it to ye like you're 5, is it?
Exactly. Explain it to the audience like they're 5, because we got it.
It feels like you maybe didn't.
Well, I mean, let's find out. Tell us about it.
As an American arrives in Berlin to study at the academy, and spooky shit starts going on because there's a coven of witches running the academy.
It's pronounced Coven.
Seriously, am I saying that because of COVID? Is that what it is?
No, Brian,
not sure.
you're right.
Or is it just how I
No,
pronounce
you're
it?
okay. Coven. A coven of witches.
Well, I mean, it's the same thing. Like where you're placing the accent, it doesn't matter. But I'm just wondering, am I saying it that way because of COVID?
Apple,
That's wondering.
apple.
Yeah, it's
It doesn't
interesting.
matter.
Bagel.
Yeah.
Same thing. So an American dancer arrives to this academy.
From Ohio.
And then
You didn't watch it.
Brian, she's from Ohio. I know she's from Ohio. I did watch it. Basically,
no.
he doesn't believe us. Brian, trust me,
tell
I
us.
watched this. It's an hour
Yeah.
longer than the original.
Look,
I watched it.
this is the thing. Kevin and I are both. Kevin and I are both
It's
aware.
an hour
that,
longer than the original, and you watched it at 3 a.m. So you fell
No, I did
asleep.
not.
No,
I did not.
Definitely.
Kevin and I are both aware that we're sort of like. I don't think that to say that we didn't get it, we got it, but I don't think that we liked it. So you're somebody that has seen it now twice, does seem to have enjoyed it. So we want to hear your perspective
you
on it first.
recommended it, so you better fucking start talking.
And that's why I'm asking you to lead the piece of the podcast where first
Okay.
for the audience, give us an overview of the story and then tell us what it is you like about it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, overview of the story. It's a spooky witch dance academy where people go missing. That's kind of all you really need to know plot wise, I think. I like it,
But there's a goal.
There's a psychologist kind of investigating the school with one of the students after a former student suffers a mental breakdown.
Yeah, I really want to just like get all the beats out there so that we can talk around them.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
You know, Susie is an undertrained ingenue type that wants to be the lead dancer at this academy, but she's really being groomed to be possessed, or like there's real insidious goals towards this Susie character.
Yeah, she's being groomed to be possessed because there's like a trio of witches that have been operating within the academy. So where we kind of think it's heading is that she's been groomed to like become a vessel, but it turns out she's actually one of the incarnations of one of the
other witches.
Mother Suspirium, basically.
Yeah.
And she goes about setting things right in the academy, I guess. You know.
Yeah, so by the end of it, you think that she's going to be the victim, and you realize that the power dynamic has shifted entirely, and Susie is in complete control of that environment and just kicks the dick in of that school.
Well,
yeah.
my question though was
they're lady
my
dicks.
question was like she was always this sister witch thing. She was always that, and when she came there, she was just like, I'm putting an end to your bullshit. Or
I believe so.
I think she more like Pokemon leveled up as she went along, you know?
Yes, but I think that's how I interpret it. She was reincarnated as that girl, and she had the quickening inside her, or the force. Tilda Swinton felt it, and she was like, she is the one. And then they thought they were going to groom her to be a vessel, but then she pulled the old switcheroo, and she was like, I am Suspiria in this. I am Dr. Suspiria, and I am going to blow up all your heads. And
she Cabinet of Caligari did.
One lady had oozy nipples, I would say.
She did. That's what I'd say too. Aiden? She certainly did.
Macross.
Aiden hasn't watched it. Aiden didn't watch it.
Macross, I think.
I didn't watch it.
Marcus. She's like
Marcus.
that. She's that kind of like
Marcus.
decaying. Why is she wearing the sunglasses? I don't know. It's real post-war.
To hide Tilda Swinton's
fashion.
eyes.
Was that Tilda Swinton in that costume as well? Was it?
So was Dr. Klemperer.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah. That I didn't feel that was successful.
Neither did I, and once I spotted it in like the second appearance, oh no, that's not.
Saw straight away.
I then couldn't take that. Anyway,
I didn't realize it was a person in makeup.
Can we just give Brian the moment to just? Can you tell us your thoughts on
why I
recommended
it? Why I liked it?
Yeah.
Because of the dancing.
Right. Like have you seen the original?
I wish I had.
No, and I even said this to Kevin before you jumped on, where it's like, I feel like before we discuss this thoroughly intelligently, I think I might need to watch the original. But go on.
It's quite different from the original in a few ways. Like the original is much more kind of lurid and garish in the colors, and it's almost like it's very much a kind of a sensory overload between like the sound and the visuals. It's very intense. It's kind of trippy. But it's
the original is Dario Argento
yeah.
in the 70s.
Yep. So this is quite different already then with the kind of much more muted kind of palette and things, but I like it because it kind of reinterpreted. I think it successfully reinterpreted what has been, hailed as a classic of the genre, and I just think it was effectively creepy in so many places. And visually, like the dance routines and everything were just, some very powerful imagery in it.
Very strong visually.
I just think that it's impressive that it was able to stand its own against.
Yeah, man, it's the poor man's Black Swan, like.
Don't even get me started. It's just done
Get him started.
with that
No.
perfect blue rip-off fucking bullshit.
Mark Kermode. Whilst The Argento was a movie that leapt and flew, this is a movie that sits there and tells you off. I don't know what that means. I do like Mark Kermode, but I think I might have to go read the full review of that. I was having the same journey that I had with Hereditary, where every time I got thoroughly freaked out, I would send you a message going, I fucking hate this. But with Hereditary, I cared about the daughter, I cared about the brother, I cared about Toni Collette, I cared about Gabriel Byrne. Yeah. I didn't give a shit about anybody watching this.
No, all awful.
I was just like, what's the payoff for this going to be?
Yeah, I wonder.
I didn't care about it.
It's a very different
absolutely
approach. Yeah, and it's much more
arty.
Like I said, the original is. I mean, Hereditary is an assault on the senses as well, in a way. I think.
Yeah.
But just different approaches to the same thing, and I think they're both valid, and I completely agree. Yeah, Hereditary works, one, because the horror is a metaphor for toxic family dynamics and stuff, but two, it only really works because it needed that family dynamic for it to be an interesting take on what otherwise would be a kind of a possession ghost story type thing. I don't think that this necessarily needed that to be effective, because it's trying to do something. It's much more, again, it's a kind of a sensory thing in the same way that the original was, but it's not really. It's unsettling then in a more abstract way than Hereditary. Like I said, we both said like the scene where Toni Collette finds the body in the car, and then after the funeral, and she's just like screaming grief. That's the most horrific part. That's the most hard to watch part, because it's a different type of
pain,
psychological horror. Yeah. Whereas this is more of a abstract kind of
fair
sensory thing, I think. And I just find like I watch. I think the majority of horror movies don't hit the mark for me at all, and I think this does. I think that's one of the reasons it's successful. Is like, even if you're not connecting with the characters in the same way, you know, it's got those moments where you're texting me going, I fucking hate this, because it's being effective. And I think that's
the things that I'm reacting to there are the big broad body horror stuff, you know, like that sequence early in the movie where she volunteers to dance the lead, and we find that the dance is connected to this sort of voodoo puppetry assault on another dancer at a second location. That was an amazing piece.
But
like that was great. Oh, I don't know. Like it was the fact that she came back to her and she's still alive as this knot of broken human flesh. At that point I was like Hereditary, horrified and tense and watching it. But as it went on, like I think they wanted to put the sort of human connection to I think her name was Sarah and Patricia, and I think I wanted to connect to Susie more, and then see her slip into Madame Blanc's control and ultimately take over. But I don't think I ever cared enough about her, because even in the investigation stuff that she was doing a little bit of, she was kind of off, you know. She didn't
I think they could have established that much sooner, or much closer to the start of the movie, like Sarah investigating the school because of X, Y, and Z, you know.
Yeah, look, we're not going to, I don't think we can, you know, indict and reconstruct this movie, because it is undoubtedly successful in what it was trying to do. It's just, for me watching it, I think if I had cared more about Susie from the beginning, I would have been more afraid for her. And I never really got that.
But just they obviously took talents from particular dancers and put them into Susie. Like the one girl,
I was more scared for Caroline when they took her jumping.
Yeah, but then was she in the hallway with no legs at one stage? Was that her? You know, when Sarah finds Patricia on the bench and there's another body with no feet. Was that the girl who was jumping?
That's what I thought. that was.
That's what I thought it was as well.
Brian gets it and we don't. So, was that the jumping girl?
Is that? I wouldn't say that I get it. I just, like I said, it's not even a case of getting it. Like I said, it's just more that it. A lot of horror that I watch just doesn't get under my skin at all, and it could show something as gruesome as that scene where the dance is kind of, having the effect on the other person's body, and in other films that wouldn't land with me at all. It just wouldn't affect me. It would just be either, it just wouldn't register, and I wouldn't say it's a case of me getting the film. It's just the fact that those parts I think it did successfully, and then that whole scene at the end with the lactating sunglasses lady, like, that's just such a grotesque, fantastic image.
It kind of
I
reminded me
noticed
of...
at a certain point, the baby arm growing out of her fucking other arm up here, like she's gone full mutant.
Yeah, but they're obviously voting between her and Blanc, but then she kills Blanc, and then Susie goes full carry on the whole thing and just explodes heads all around her, and everybody who was with Marcos, right?
Marcos,
Yeah, anybody that voted for Marcos.
But Susie was pro Blanc.
Yeah, I guess. The death character was played by the same actress as Susie's mother, seemingly, according to IMDb.
Oh, really? Yeah, that makes sense. Because she would have to be something. I actually figured that was her mother, to be honest. Because if the woman who gave birth to this witch was probably something of a demon or something herself. Not that I'm saying witches are birthed from demons. Don't be offended if you're a witch. I'm not saying that.
So, Brian, can you... I mean, I feel like I need to do my own reading on this, but maybe you know better. The hostage crisis that was happening in Berlin at the same time plays out across the length of the movie. That was a 5-day siege before they took the hotel. Like, how long was she supposed to have been? Or was it over many weeks? And what if any metaphor are we supposed to be connecting between the two stories or narratives going on? Or have you thought about this at all?
I think it's sort of, I don't know, this is just me kind of, this is my first time really speaking about the film with somebody, so maybe not the most kind of formulated thoughts, but you've got a wholly kind of female cast in this kind of all-female setting, basically. And you've got the different kind of dynamics there with a kind of a matriarchy. I think then one of the themes is how is power wielded in a kind of a matriarchal dynamic. And it's kind of contrasting then the power play that's taking place within the academy with how power is, the effects of it in the world at the time. You're looking at a kind of a divided Germany. And like you said, that the kind of hostage situation playing out. I think it's just kind of contrasting, like, it's especially because,
Is it simply about letting us know? Because there's a moment where Susie's, at this point, I think she's starting to twig into Tilda Swinton, where she says, what makes people think the worst is over, and about the world around them. Is it just about showing the world being in a shitty state? Because this coven seems to have formed as a a response and a protectionist response to the world falling apart during World War II into the latter half of the 20th century.
You could kind of also view that that the power in the academy is this thing that's sort of been around too long and it's festered.
Mm.
And that it's got this corrupting, harmful influence. And that's almost kind of a parallel to the kind of politics in the world at the time and in Berlin.
Mm-hmm.
Do you get me?
I do.
And so essentially, like, I would say that Susie, by the end of the film, to me, doesn't seem kind of entirely malevolent.
No.
There's almost a kind of a compassion to her,
mm-hmm.
which is kind of contrasted with her mother and her mother's influence in her life. And then we see that kind of same harmful dynamic happening in the academy.
Yeah.
And is it then about the kind of need for old power structures needing to be dismantled, essentially, because all they do is perpetuate harm? If especially, you know, a power that's been allowed to exist for too long unchallenged is a grotesque thing.
Yeah.
Much like
there's so much
at the end.
Yeah, you know? there's so much imagery in the result of their actions around, like, putrefaction. Anybody they sort of interact with or affect rots, you know?
Rots, exactly, yeah.
Whereas Susie at the end goes to Dr. Klemperer and her action is healing.
Yep.
And even the three people that have been kept in this sort of waking death state, you know, she grants them release. She gives them the gift of death.
Yep.
And
I like that theme that you know, there's a broader conversation that everybody should be having about the harm and the conventions of a patriarchal society, and that what would happen if there was a shift in power dynamics, you know? Mm-hmm. It wouldn't automatically be softer, but there's a power that women as a collective have that can be nurturing and caring, but that doesn't mean it should be disregarded as well. Mm-hmm. That it can still be it can still be a devastating thing.
There's a moment. There is a moment in it where they literally spell out as they're dragging Klemperer into the basement. You know, a woman tells you that there's chaos and danger, and you tell her she's delusional. You know, like, why won't you, you know, believe women? You know, why try and structure the world that maintains your expectation of how it should be over what a person who's experiencing something is telling you, word for word, literally, this is what's going on. And, like, Patricia got caught out because he just framed it as delusion, you know? Mm-hmm. Patricia was Chloe Moretz, mm-hmm. which I was, like, really happy to see, because I, like, as much as I don't think that Kick-Ass is a fantastic film or franchise, she stood out in that role and, you know, was set up to be kind of a force in Hollywood since then, you know, like young actresses that deliver, or young actors or performers that deliver. And she's kind of like, the last thing was that Tom and Jerry movie. So I was just kind of really happy to see her in something that's like, oh, this is good.
I've seen her in a few things that are like good. I don't know kind of like what the last thing I saw her in, but she was in a movie about a woman who had I think it was like a brain tumor or something. Can't remember. She was really good in that. She's good in The Equalizer, and she was good in, I watched something else with her recently. and she was really good in it. Oh damn!
She's barely in The Equalizer.
I know.
She's barely in this, to be fair.
But I know she's barely in this. But she was in something else I watched her in recently. She was great in it. Oh, there's I want to say Greta, but I might be wrong. It was actually shot in Ireland, but it's set in New York.
Right. Yes, I know what you're talking about. We talked about this on the podcast as well.
Yeah, I think it's called Greta.
You started recognizing neighborhoods, and you're like, "Wait a minute."
Yeah, but
this is Dublin.
It's gas, but it's really, really good. Well, I really enjoyed it. Basically finds a bag on a train and returns it to its owner, and that kind of spirals. It's very, very good. I liked it. So I think she's great, but she's a badass. She's a great actor.
Oh no, she is. It's just you want somebody who I don't know. It doesn't matter what the fuck I want, but like there's when somebody starts off in something being fucking amazing, I just get kind of like, it's just,
you hope the best for them. You want to see them
progress. The best for them, yeah. And like Haley Steinfeld in True Grit was great, and then she wandered into some other stuff where I'm like, oh, this is a bit of dreck, but she's, I don't know, rounding out.
She's also an established pop star, which I didn't really know until.
But that came after True Grit.
I think it was around the same time. She was doing a lot around. I think she got True Grit on the basis of she had some clout already, and that it was like she didn't get that out of nowhere, you know. Mm-hmm. She was kind of coming off a few things, not necessarily films, but she was already she had a presence. Which I wasn't
she's in like Pitch Perfect and stuff.
Yeah,
is she going to be in the new?
She's
Hawkeye?
the Kate Bishop on Hawkeye.
Oh yeah, she's awesome. She's great.
Yeah, I know. I just have a fucking a snobbery around films where I think like performance is focused rather than like action and franchise development. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, more power to a performer's success when they land the jobs that build notoriety and money. I like seeing people also wander down the sort of the Tilda Swinton weird art house film path too. That being said, get that bank. Chloe Moretz was in, I think it's last year, she's in that movie where she's flying a World War II bomber or something, and there's a shot that's going around where she falls out of the fucking airplane and a bomb blows up underneath her and blows her back up into the airplane. Have we seen this? Or have you seen that? Have you not seen that?
No.
It's like, I think it's a Netflix film or something, and like it's one of the like big action releases from Netflix or Amazon Prime or something, and she's like struggling to keep her B-52 in the air, and she falls out of the airplane, and you see a shot from the bomb bay door looking down, and a bomb goes off underneath her, and the force of the bomb blows her back up into the airplane, and it's so fucking ludicrous. We've wandered off topic then. Suspiria, Kevin, did you like it?
No, I didn't.
Misogynist.
No, Jesus Christ.
If you don't like this film, you're a misogynist. Anybody who doesn't like this film is a misogynist. Anybody.
So I really liked this film.
Everybody.
It, I had a lot to
You both didn't like it?
I really liked it.
You both
really liked it.
I mean, I think you can tell from our conversation that there's lots to talk about in it. And I think the thing is, having watched Hereditary that connected emotionally to me, I didn't connect to this character in the same way. There's great stuff in here, but I don't think I'd watch this again.
Sounds like a classic misogynist.
Like,
I'll watch it tonight again.
Technically, in the production end of things, there was a thing in it that I haven't seen in a kind of a long time, especially at this level, which is like, is it overcrank or undercrank slow-mo, where, the shot was, rather than shooting in a high frame rate to get slow motion, they just slowed down the regular frame rate, and there's like interlaced blurry frames. It's a really weird effect. I don't know if I liked it. There's a couple of moments where they do that. Did you guys notice that? Do you think about that whole end sequence has this, I'm trying to remember if it's undercranking or overcranking. slow-mo anyway. What did you make of the sort of the way that end sequence was shot? No comment?
Oh, who, me?
If you don't like undercranking, you're a misogynist.
I'm afraid to speak now.
I did notice in the German they subtitled the word coven, but they said the word hexen. But they said the word hexen for witch singular as well.
Look, right.
That's a subtitling
This
issue.
is what are you talking about? This is
The Witcher is more accurately the Hexer. Even that's
From
so
the
they
Polish?
translated. Yeah. So Witcher doesn't really sum up. Witcher gives the wrong impression, but it's just interesting that witch and hex are,
right. This movie wasn't good. This movie wasn't good. Right. I didn't enjoy it. Right. Didn't think it was great. Straight away, why have Tilda Swinton played? I know that I've read the notes on it, and they said that because it was an all-female cast, they thought it'd be better if a female played the male lead, which is fine. I don't know. It was a lot of I personally felt style over substance. The acting talent in it was great actors. Tilda is just like 99.9% of the things I watch her in is amazing, and I think I've always liked her. She's great.
Oh, she makes an impression doing so little in this movie. The first time you see her, when Susie starts dancing and she has this like turn around, and then she just appeared, like just her standing.
She felt the force. That's what it looked like.
Mm-hmm.
But go on, sorry.
No, that's the end of it. I mean, it's just the presence of an actress is very impressive.
But she's brilliant. She's great, and Chloe's brilliant, and Dakota is brilliant. There's somebody else in it who's a pretty big name, was there? The cast is really great. Don't get me wrong, but like the scene.
You don't think it's an effective horror film, no?
I watched it with Emer last night, and I think she wasn't like, and we love her. She wasn't particularly impressed. And I'll watch like a lot of movies, push the boundaries out there, no problem with all that kind of stuff. And this is just my opinion. Obviously, people think it's great, and that's fine. But just like, it was like, it's like, do I think it's effective because like it shows a lot of jarring scenes and things, and like even the like the flashes of imagery. It's just like that's the story. That would be disorientating if I was watching a Spice Girls music video. Doesn't necessarily mean it's kind of like it's an effective tool to disorientate, and they use it in the movie. I don't necessarily think the movie was like, it goes absolutely fucking ridiculous at the end, where like there's the reveal and she's blowing heads up and all that kind of stuff. The scene where Olga is in the room of mirrors and she's bouncing around the place, it's like I think like again, impressive performance from that actress or actor, but it was gross though. Like, it was so over the top. It was like, if it had been done a little bit, like it like downplayed a little bit, it was just a little bit too much, I think aspects of the film was a bit convoluted, but then artier movies you're either a fan or you're not, you think they're kind of a little bit like self-indulgent and convoluted, or you don't, you know what I mean? And I think this one just, aspects of this one just got away from itself for me personally. Who was that woman with the big glasses and the bowl cut?
The one who stabbed herself in the neck?
I can't remember. Did she stab herself in the neck?
Yeah, that was a weird one. She sort of was like,
the one that was always like spying and looking down and stuff. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
not really, no.
There was a character in it, and she was always standing on the staircases looking down at the girls dancing and stuff. She had glasses and a kind of like a bowl cut. Maybe she did stab herself in the neck.
There's the woman that played Anka. There was the smaller aggro blonde who was like killing people with that rib. It was a rib, wasn't it?
No, I don't.
Like a silver ribbed hook.
Don't know what that was. I think that was more of a utensil. I felt. I don't know if it was like a bone. It could have been a bone.
I thought it was a sort of Adam's rib allegory thing. You know, it was the sort of. Did I draw that from nothing, or did I make that up? I thought it was like a metal rib hook.
I'm just trying to find. Oh, here, look. It was shot really well. The color palette and everything, really, really cool. The performances were great and all that kind of stuff. But it's like The Lighthouse with Robert Pattinson and William Dafoe. There is a certain point of it where, like, this movie, I think this movie could be better if it was edited down. I know that's probably like a really sacrilegious thing to say, but it's like less is more, you know?
Okay, here's a question then. Brian had seen it before. Brian likes it. There's obviously a lot to discuss in this film. It's not for you. I see something in it, but I don't think I'd ever watch it again.
So, I mean, like, I see something in it.
I'd watch moments of it again,
Yeah.
but there's great stuff in it. But I think I fall in the same category where it's like it's not one for me. And
I even said to Emer watching it, it's like Dakota Johnson did like 2 years of dance kind of classes for this movie and stuff, you know. And I was saying, like,
Yeah.
it must be fantastic to get like a role like this where it's like, you know, it's essentially a high budget, I'd imagine, or a high production, great cast, director, you know, and you kind of you have to jump into this stuff, of you know, like the dance routines and all that kind of stuff. Like, she is a phenomenal talent to be able to do that.
There's work in it. Yeah,
That's what I mean. Like, it's working it. So, like, don't get me wrong. Like, there's like, I can say there's a lot in this movie that, like, I think is great, you know. And I did actually like the scene at the end where it's all red and all that kind of stuff. Like, it was wild. It was mental. But I just think, like, it's I think, like again, it could just be it's just
the moment. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna, it's a personal thing, but like, I feel like narrative wise could have been clearer and possibly edited a certain way. But like, that's just me. But like, it's a freaky movie, and if somebody wanted to be really freaked out, I'd recommend this movie. Like, it's a freaky, scary movie, and maybe I'm confusing that with like those feelings with like not liking it. But it's just, I know it's not my type of horror to a degree, but it's scary. It did the job, you know. It's freaky.
So here's the thing then, right? Let's pick next week's movies, right? And I think we did a good thing this week, even if Brian didn't get to, like, or didn't find the time. And, you know, we don't have a what if, and I'm not saying Why the Last Man or Only Murders. Let's stick to the horror thing. Let's pick a fun one, but like
Muppets Haunted House.
Well, like It Follows, Drag Me to Hell, Ready or Not are three horror films that I think fall into the sort of like a bit more fun horror vibe thing. I've seen none of those three. So, Kevin, is there are any of those three something you'd want to watch again, or have you seen all of them? Or
It Follows, I've seen. Ready or Not, I've seen. And what was the other one you said?
Drag Me to Hell.
Drag Me to Hell, I've seen. Well, I was going to suggest Malignant. Oh my god, did I really just say that? I butchered that, didn't I?
Have you seen it?
No, I haven't seen it. That's the new one, isn't it?
Is it gettable?
Yes, it's gettable.
Or do I have to go to a cinema?
It's on YouTube. As far as I checked this on YouTube, I think.
So where does that fall in the on the scary fun vibe?
Well, I was going to say we could watch that. Well, It Follows isn't really fun, to be honest.
Okay, well, let's check out Malignant.
Yeah, you can get it. You can get it. It's in the cinema, but you can also get it on YouTube.
Okay.
So.
Oh yeah, watch now. I see it.
Yeah. So yeah, Malignant and
it's pronounced Maleficent.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking, Brian.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
You're so right. Malignant.
So we're going to watch Mellifluous.
Yeah.
And the other thing I was going to suggest in a simply, and I feel like this is for Brian to tell me whether or not we should, because I would bet he's seen it. Climax.
No.
Gaspar Noé.
No.
Dancers.
No.
Sofia Boutella.
I'm not doing it. I'm not doing another one. I'm not doing another.
I mean, if you don't like an assault on the senses, then
No.
No, do.
No,
Do.
no, I'm
Do
not
watch
watching it. I'm not watching it.
Why are you objecting to that, Kev?
I'm not watching it.
Yeah, why are you objecting?
Huh?
Why
Oh,
not?
God, I want to watch like something that's like classic horror, not something that's going to leave me like kind of reading and feeling gross.
I want to watch classic horror, not something that's going to horrify me.
yeah. No, it's like these things are real cerebral. It's a bit different. Watching Toni Collette scream because she finds her decapitated child's body in the back of her car in the morning it's hard going.
Look, we're going to have
Climax is
6
also
weeks of
based
hard
on
going
a
through
real story
Hawkeye.
as well.
No,
Sorry,
why
say that
is it
again,
like
Brian. I
shit
stepped
on
on it.
Hawkeye. Fuck this. Hawkeye's gonna be great.
Hawkeye's
No,
gonna
stop. Kate Bishop. I'm all for it. Bring it.
I mean, we could watch the new Home Alone.
No. I'm saying next week. Let's watch Maleficent.
Malignant.
Climax, I think.
No, and let's watch. I don't even know what Climax is, but let's watch.
Well, that's
Haunted
what I'm
on-
saying.
Climax is
Muppets
actually based
Haunted
on
House.
a true story.
Okay, let me check it out.
I do.
Oh, no,
So,
I'm typing in Climax on the internet, so this is gonna go well.
No, don't do that. You get Joe Manganiello's dick getting kicked in.
Yeah.
No, I think it would be good to watch Climax, but maybe not so soon after Suspiria because it's very dance oriented.
But that's kind of why I'm suggesting it.
Oh, that's why. Okay, well,
That's
then
why
let's
I'm
do it.
suggesting it. Is that I think it's 96 minutes rather than 2.5 hours.
It is shorter, yeah.
That's a bonus.
It is.
So I think that's part of this fucking month of suffering that we're going through. Kevin has suggested Malignant. I'll make sure that we have it to watch, and I'll do the same for Climax.
Yeah, okay.
Climax was on Netflix. Is it?
It's on Apple TV for 99 cents.
That's a bargain.
Yeah, God.
I'll check if it's still on Netflix. It is no longer still on Netflix.
We'll work it out.
We'll work it out. Kev's gonna hate it.
But I'm going to hate Malignant, so let's.
This is awful.
I mean, you're probably gonna hate Climax
I just
too.
read the synopsis.
Don't read
what
the
they call it?
synopsis.
What they call it? Sophia Butella. She's in it. She's great.
Butella. Yeah.
She's awesome.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
Okay, I'll watch it.
something
but-
for everybody.
Well,
Both
she's
dance films have certified babes in it, and that's why we're going to watch them.
Kevin is gonna hate it.
I'm gonna watch this one on my own. I'm not gonna put Emer through this stuff again. It's not fair. She's a human being. I think she gets a little bit disappointed when I say, "Oh, we're watching the halfway during the movie." I'm like, something about the podcast. She's like, "Oh, are we watching this for the podcast?" I'm like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Oh,
Don't tell her.
But like, we're not picking garbage films. Like, we are picking stuff with merit, right?
see, we started with Speed Racer.
Huh?
We started with Speed Racer, so it's just been she's burnt. She's been burnt.
Films of merit.
No, she's been burnt.
You need to
or
watch Speed
apology.
Racer again because the fact you don't like it is just doesn't make sense. Just does not make sense. Based on everything I know about you and things
I
you
know,
like,
yeah.
you should like Speed Racer. It makes
I
no
know,
sense.
yeah. Maybe at the time I would have liked it, but Brian, your drawing excellent. That was probably my favorite thing about the bloody Suspiria. Watching Brian's time lapse this
I'll
morning.
try finish it.
Do please, it was great.
I'll try finish it.
Well, I guess everybody would have heard about Suspiria because of that mirror room scene and the scene at the end. I guess they're like they're kind of
That,
like,
and it's a it's a remake of a cult classic as well. Like, Suspiria is in the sort of horror film
like
canon.
yeah. So, okay. So anybody like out there who's doing like a horror movie marathon or wants to put it on the list. Put it on the list. I hate saying it, but put it on the list.
I mean that was my only goal with watching it, is that I think like I said, I don't watch a load of horror because most of it isn't very good.
I agree.
Most of it's just very by the numbers. So I really
Nice and
like when
safe.
something like
That's what I like.
I really like when something like Hereditary or Suspiria comes along that unsettles me. I think it's difficult to do.
And then the week after, we'll watch Antichrist.
No, because I've seen it and I'm not doing that.
I didn't like Antichrist actually.
Is it?
Even though I just said I like stuff that, gets under my skin. Hey, Kev, do one thing for me.
Yes.
I sent you a message. Would you kindly read the message out of the mic, please?
Woven.
Thank you.